Welcome to Hip Hop Movie Club, where three old heads put their old heads together to vibe on some of the most memorable or forgettable hip hop themed movies of all time. And here's HHMC with your HHMCs, Boogie, JB, and DynoWright. Season 2, Episode 2, Disorderlies. Disorderlies was directed by Michael Schultz and stars the Fat Boys, who were comprised of Darren Robinson, a.k.a. Buffy, Mark Morales, a.k.a. Marky or Prince Marky D, and Damon Wembley, a.k.a. Cool or a.k.a. Cool Rock Ski, and also starring Ralph Bellamy and Anthony Geary.
Disorderlies is a slapstick comedy featuring the rap trio the Fat Boys, who are hired as caretakers by a desperate man looking to expedite his wealthy but ailing uncle's death so that he can claim his fortune. All right, so break it down for me, fellas. What you got on this one, Boogie?
All right, so this movie is absolutely hilarious. I haven't watched this movie in years, but I laughed through the whole movie. There's just so many things to laugh about in this movie. It's just, they have this amazing Three Stooges type chemistry throughout the whole movie. It's insane to watch. And the storyline is pretty funny because they're supposed to expedite the death of this wealthy man. But in the end, they end up helping him and giving him kind of a new lease on life. But along the way, there's all kinds of anecdotes, and they even have a makeshift music video. There's some cameos in there, some famous folks. But I really enjoy this movie. It's just a lot of fun, whole lot of fun.
I'm a fan of slapstick, as I mentioned on previous episodes, and self-deprecating humor. They call themselves the Fat Boys. They talk about their weight. Some of the jokes are about they ate 16 chocolate cakes that were supposed to be there. That's the fifth time that has happened. Knocking over tables, falling back in the airplane seat on the passenger behind you, kind of squishing the older woman. Just hilarity.
Yeah, and I also picked up on the Three Stooges kind of slapstick. It's almost lifted from a lot of the Three Stooges shorts I've watched like over and over again. The only thing that was missing was like a pie throwing scene or something, kind of pie fight. But it was a lot of fun slapstick, and especially the pool scene where they drop Dennison into the pool by accident. I've seen Mo, Larry, and Curly do this like 1,000 times, and it's funny when the Fat Boys do it. Yeah.
After they first, they get picked up by the plane and they land in Florida. The comedy starts immediately. Like, they haven't even arrived at the house, and Marky's like yelling out the window at some women and immediately gets thrown in jail. It's like, come on.
And the one guy's riding in the trunk of the car on the way back because he couldn't fit in the back seat.
Yeah. Had Cool in the trunk.
Yeah.
It was wild. Uncle Albert, the elderly guy, he had this ridiculous complex pill dispenser, which just played music, all different colored pills. At one point, the Fat Boys are playing cards and they're using the pills as the coins. And then they're about to get caught. They dispose of them the pills into a trash bag. And ironically, he gets better because he was over-medicated was the diagnosis. So he starts doing a lot better.
Yeah.
It was kind of silly.
Yep. Carla threw the pills out. There's one part that I always loved about the movie too, and it happens as they're taking a tour of the house, and it also happens again during the epilogue at the end. As they're walking through, taking a tour of the house, you hear like this classical music playing, and over the top of the classical music, you hear the beatbox coming through. And I always love that part. I'm like, man, I need to have that on a loop. So I'm such a fan of classical music, and just to hear that the beatbox over it is just like perfect. It's like whoever thought of that concept, they deserve an award.
That was well played.
I mean, poor Uncle Albert gets schlepped around like Bernie Lomax. Actually living.
It's like summer at Bernie's.
Exactly. And it's funny. I always think of when I hear Uncle Albert, "We're So Sorry, Uncle Albert" from Paul McCartney, Admiral Halsey. That song is in my head, and I'm wondering if they used that name just by chance. But if you listen to the lyrics, it's like, we're so sorry, and you're in this situation and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uncle Albert, played by the late great Ralph Bellamy.
It's amazing who they got into this film. It's a slapstick comedy, but there are some real people. These are real actors in this movie, like Ralph Bellamy and Anthony Geary. He was a big deal over at General Hospital.
Luke and Laura.
People remember Luke and Laura from the 80s.
Yeah,
you don't get much bigger than Luke from Luke and Laura. Yeah,
the whole saga.
And I remember that, and even though I wasn't really watching General Hospital that much, like my mom would watch it, but somehow I knew about it too.
Yeah, it was big.
That wedding
everywhere.
was the biggest thing, other than like Prince Charles's wedding. The next biggest wedding was Luke and Laura.
Absolutely, yeah. It was all over on the cover of TV Guide. It was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's in this movie as the antagonist.
Yeah. Of all people, right?
Of all people.
Ralph Bellamy, who plays Uncle Albert. I know, Boogie, one of your favorite movies, Trading Places.
Absolutely.
Was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Trading Places, yep. Randolph Duke.
Quickly reprised the role in Coming to America as a brief cameo.
Yep. Absolutely. You know who I noticed had a small cameo? Who played Cool's mom?
Linda Hopkins.
I was like, what the heck? Harriet Winslow. And it's funny because I never realized that, because like I said, I haven't watched it in so many years. I think the last time I watched it, I was like a kid. Yeah, I'm watching, I'm like, oh wow, look who it is.
Yeah, my wife watched this one with me because she used to love this movie, and she pointed that out right away. She said, that's the mother from Family Matters. And you wouldn't, because Family Matters came on after, I think after this movie. So we wouldn't have
Buffy's
known.
Mom. Yeah, Buffy's mom played by Harriet. Joe Payton Noble played Harriet Winslow. That's a great tie-in.
Yeah,
there were a lot of cameos and recognizable folks. In fact, one of the socialites at the charity event in the beginning is the singer Helen Reddy, famous for "I Am Woman," and she was in the original Pete's Dragon.
Mm-hmm. Did you catch the pizza delivery guy?
Ray Parker Jr. Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. Wow.
Yeah, there are so many people that critical moments, significant moments in the 80s and elsewhere in this movie.
Yep.
And DynoWright being a guitarist aficionado, did you see who they ended up carjacking?
They carjacked Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick, who's wearing a Cheap Trick t-shirt. I mean, I couldn't give it away anymore, but I knew this going into the movie, but it was still kind of funny, like, hey, you just carjacked Cheap Trick guy.
Yeah, he always used to wear like the painter's cap. And I was like, whoa, I didn't realize that. I mean, back then, Cheap Trick was a big thing, and they're legendary. I forgot about that. So
I just saw them last summer. I saw them in concert, so they're still kicking. But yeah, like and there were other, like Linda Hopkins, like I said, and also Donnie Simpson is in this movie.
Yep, at the rink, the roller skating rink.
The roller skating rink. They had a lot of people in this movie.
Yeah.
And Ralph Bellamy was also in Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
Was he? Oh, I didn't realize. I didn't make that connection.
And Tony Plana, who played Miguel, was in a ton of TV shows. He was on 24 and Ugly Betty and many, many shows.
And Troy Byer, who played Carla, I remember her from a bunch of shows. Like she was on Dynasty. And I remember her from the movie Baps with Halle Berry.
Oh, yeah.
She was also in the 5 Heartbeats.
Oh,
Yeah, I
wow.
always like seeing her, man. I had a crush on her back in the day.
Yeah, how many episodes does Boogie have a crush on someone?
Ooh. Life goes by too fast.
Facts.
But no,
Funny.
she's
Even
actually
Marky.
yeah, she's actually has a doctorate in clinical psychology.
Is that right?
And she's
Wow.
a published author and founder of an organization that promotes fun, effective, and affordable mind care. Yeah.
Wow.
Mindology Fitness. Yeah. I was trying to figure out, like, I remember there was a stint where she was in a lot of shows and movies, and then I don't see her anymore. I'm like, what is up with her? And I was like, oh, that's what she's been up to. Okay.
She went to school. She got a job. Make some noise.
Absolutely. Not mad at it. There was this one song that played, and I listened, and it always makes me laugh. It was a scene where they like working out, and they're doing like a fitness montage when she's trying to get Marky to like lose weight and things like that. Have you ever listened to the lyrics? It's like Big Mac attacks, fried chicken by the sacks. I was like, what?
That reminds me of You Be Illin'.
I was like, what is going on? But every time I hear that song, I always start laughing.
That's funny. But yeah, we talk about the music. The most famous song that I remember was the Baby You're Rich Man, the video they shot. That was awesome.
Yeah, I remember there was like a big deal about the premiere of that video too, because the movie came out and was like, we're going to premiere our new video from the movie Disorderlies, and it was like a big thing with the premiere for that. The Wipeout plays in it at a point too.
Mm-hmm.
That was the song they did with the Beach Boys.
Yeah, and the Beach Boys were in this movie. Well, a couple of them.
That one came out at the end. Yeah,
at the very end. Yeah,
very end.
And I heard "On the Edge of a Broken Heart." Wasn't that Bon Jovi?
Bon Jovi. Yep.
Was playing when they were driving. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yep, I had that in there. I was like, oh, they go Bon Jovi. Yep.
Which it wasn't even like a big thing. Like somehow, like fourth billing, right? Not even the top 10. Well, yeah, there's a Bon Jovi song in this. Right. Turned into a megastar.
Yeah, this movie was a pretty good hit. I was looking up. The budget was like $5 million for like a slapstick comedy. I guess they put a lot of money out. It raked in over $10 million in the box office back in 1987.
I saw it in theater. This is one of the few I actually have seen in the theater. One of our movies of what we're doing. My cousin Adrian took me and my brother to see it. So shout out to cousin Adrian.
In the late 80s, this was in constant rotation on HBO and I believe Prism, which was a Philadelphia pay channel that showed a lot of movies along with wrestling and Flyers and 76ers. And I used to watch it every time it came on.
Yeah, this is one of the movies that got me through college. My mom would record like the VHS tapes. She would make like mixtapes of movies. And then when I would come home, she would give me like a couple of the movies. VHS tapes is with like maybe 4 or 5 or 6 movies, depending on the length of the movies. And I would watch them in school. So this is one of the movies that got me through college.
You had to set the VCR at a super long play so it'd record more stuff.
Absolutely.
Extended play.
My mom was the master at that. I couldn't do it. I'd try to record a movie and I'd only fit like one on there. My mom was squeezing in like as many as she can get on there. I couldn't perfect it.
Now, Boogie, I know you have some Fat Boys records. Did you have the Disorderlies soundtrack? Do you remember?
No, I didn't have the Disorderlies soundtrack. This is one of the ones that I did not have, but I did have a couple of the albums. But this was the one that slipped by. I always wanted it, but I never got it.
The Fat Boys were important to the hip hop culture. They were one of the earlier acts that became big. You see, they were crossed over into the movies. They were in Crush Groove also. Mm-hmm. And really big into beatboxing. You can always hear the sound where they're they're breathing like that. And they had a unique sound and style. Unfortunately, a couple of them died at a young age. In fact, Buffy Darren Robinson died at age 28.
Yeah.
And Prince Marky D, or Mark Morales, died at age 52 just last year, 2021. So there's only one remaining member.
Yeah.
That's Cool Rock Ski, Damon Wembley.
Yeah. That's sad, man. I was sad when Buffy passed away, man, because he was endeared by like everyone because his ability to do that, the beatbox, but just his outlook on life. He was such a positive, fun-loving guy too. He was always, the fun one. So when he passed away, it was like, wow, it hit home.
Yeah, it's a shame when those fun-loving guys are no longer with us because they bring so much joy to our lives, whether it be in the hip-hop industry, someone like Buffy or like Biz Markie, who recently passed, or We Love Phife Dawg, or like Robin Williams or someone like that just provides so much positive energy and comedic presence. It's a shame.
Did you read that he was accused of filming a 14-year-old girl being raped? Did you see this in Wikipedia?
I did not see that.
No, that I didn't see.
So this is it. This was in the 90s. Apparently, he was fined $10,000.
Wow.
So that's not cool, but wow, you never know.
Wow.
Yeah. Never know.
I remember like when the Fat Boys, like their original name was the Disco 3. The moniker being called Fat Boys just kind of stuck and they just ran with it. They just embraced it, had fun with it. So you know what? Hey, yeah, we are a little big, but we could still rock the mic. And they were legit MCs. Marky D and Cool Rock Ski were legit MCs, and they definitely knew how to move the crowd. I give them hats off to them for taking that and putting a spin on it and embracing it and just doing what they did.
And I listened to their first two records during the lead up to this, and I forgot how many like really good songs were on this.
Oh yeah,
I haven't really given a real listen in a long time, and they were really good. And
yeah,
some say paved the way for folks like Dougie Fresh and Biz Markie.
Yeah,
even though better than me, but
yeah, they hung with the heavyweights. Like they ran with Run DMC and Curtis Blow and LL Cool J. They ran with the big boys. They were all out there together, I
thought I read that Curtis Blow was the one that maybe took these guys under the wing and got them started.
Yep.
They were a fun act. I was going to say, do you think this movie could be made again today? And I think something similar could be made, a slapstick type comedy with a hip hop act. I don't know who would fill that role these days, though.
Yeah, right. Who's the current clown prince of hip hop? I don't really know.
Right. Like I said, they had such natural chemistry.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's the part that you'd have to struggle with right there, is finding an act that'll have that chemistry.
Yeah.
And have it come across as genuinely funny and not forced.
I can't think of a hip hop group that would be the Fat Boy equivalent of this, but maybe it's like some pop punk band or something. Blink 182.
Yeah. I mean, I could have seen back in the day when the Beastie Boys first came out, when you see like that Fight for Your Right to Party video, like they could have done a similar type thing.
Yeah, Beastie Boys, they definitely had the chemistry. Yeah.
Back then. I don't know who else would be similar. It's a unique talent to have that type of chemistry, to have that comedic presence as well. So
yeah,
Boys.
This is a throwback. This is almost like a one of a kind.
I can hear Ralph Bellamy right now. When they first went out, Cool wanted to go home, and they snuck out, and they ended up going to the roller skate ring, and they're sneaking back in, and everyone wakes up. Lowry comes over, and he's like, "Oh, we were so worried about you," and he's like, "Chill out, Winslow."
That was so good.
Went to an all-night drugstore, and then as he's going up the stairs, he comes over to him again and says something to him, he's like, "Step off, homeboy." Like,
that was really funny.
Oh man,
are you illing?
So funny. Yeah, he's like, "Stop illing."
Yeah, stop illing.
They were struggling to figure out what happened to the pills.
When they're trying to figure out what to do, and Albert sits up. That made me laugh so much. They think he's dead, and he sits right up.
Oh, he's having a spasm.
He's having spasm. Yeah.
Even mouth to mouth. He's pounding pounding on him, and puts him in the bed.
And then he pushes them down. He starts giving it back to them. And then they cut to the next scene where who was in the bed? It wasn't
Cool was in bed.
Yeah, Cool was in bed and
laid up.
Healthy. That was really, really well done.
Yeah, that was hilarious. There's just like so many funny scenes in that movie. Like even the part when they're in the back of the police car, and he takes the hangers.
Yes, that was
Jimmy in the car with the hangers, and I'm like, what? Totally unrealistic, but hilarious to watch.
Yeah. The guy that played the lie detector, Rick Zumwalt, was in Over the Top. Yes. All these connections to other movies.
Yes, so he was Bo Hurley.
Yeah, Bo Hurley. Oh man.
Yep. There's one line in that movie that I always say. I got it from this movie. Was the part when Buffy and Cool are sneaking in to try to rescue them, and they're Miguel and Lowry and guys know that they're in there, and they're chasing them through the house, and Miguel goes to turn a corner, and he's like, "That hit the bed," cracks him in the head with the frying pan. To this day, I say that. Anytime I see a video clip or America's Funniest Videos or something like that, and somebody falls, I'm like, "That head to bed."
Oh man.
My sister and I used to rewind that part and play it over so many times. That head to bed. That head to bed. Funny stuff.
Classic.
Funny stuff.
Classic.
Yeah. This was a good one to pick out. I'm glad we chose this one. I haven't watched it in years. A lot of good memories.
And I hadn't seen it since I saw it in theater, and I didn't have Prism growing up, so I couldn't watch it from Prism or HBO, but this was a nice walk down memory lane.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it since the late 80s, I would say. So it was a fun time to see it. There were some laugh out loud moments for sure. So that being said, why don't we give it our rating that we always do? So the choices are bring that funky flick back.
Bring that funky flick back.
Or leave it in the vault. DynoWright, why don't you start?
I did wonder whether I should bring this funky flick back or leave it in the vault, but I'm going to bring this funky flick back.
Boogie?
Yeah, I'm bringing this funky flick back. I had a lot of fun watching it. I highly recommend this for a good laugh.
I agree. Bring this funky flick back. I've always been a fan of slapstick. I can watch Three Stooges marathons, and I have done that. And so I enjoy this one. Bring it back.
Hip Hop Movie Club is produced by your HHMCs, JB, Boogie, and DynoWright. Theme music by Boogie. Special thanks to Susan Berger, Towanda Edwards, and Allison Seneres. Hit us up at hiphopmovieclub@gmail.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Hip Hop Movie Club. You can also check us out at hiphopmovieclub.com. In the next episode of the Hip Hop Movie Club podcast, we'll talk about House Party. It drops in 2 weeks. Subscribe today in your favorite podcast app, and you won't miss it.
And remember, don't hate, congregate.